Welcome back to Golf the X's Winning What's in the Bag, where this week we are taking a look at Thomas Detry's bag from the 2025 WM Phoenix Open. Congratulations, Thomas, on his big win there. This is always a tournament that sparks a little controversy, tends to be a little bit of partying, a little bit of going wild. Seems like this year was a little bit calmer than previous years. We did see some wild stuff with a hole at 1 and 16 and cans and bottles and cups and everything being thrown onto the course. But overall, I think it was definitely a little bit tamer than previous years. So Thomas Detry won. Congratulations to him. Always a fun event. Always an exciting one to watch. He's a Callaway staff member, so every club in this bag is going to be Callaway. And we're going to start at the top. And the top is the driver. And it is a Callaway Paradym AI Smoke triple diamond head. So this is the most fade bias, kind of lowest launching, lowest spinning head that Callaway made in the AI Smoke lineup. It is a 9-degree head, and it looks like the hosel is set to -1 neutral. Now, that means it could be playing at 8 degrees, but with tour issue heads, they're measured digitally for loft and everything, so they know that it's like 9.4 degrees or whatever the head is. So it is playing down 1, so if it's a 9-degree head, it's going to be playing like 8 degrees. If it's a 9.5-degree head, when they measure it, it'll play about 8.5. But it is -1 degree of loft and the neutral lie angle. So it also has a draw lie angle option, which will make it more upright, but this one is set to standard there. It is shafted up with a Mitsubishi Tensei CK Pro Blue 70TX. Now the CK one you probably have not heard of in a while because it was kind of one of the original Tensei models. This is kind of the original Pro models, the CK, and honestly today probably one of my favorites. I absolutely loved CK Pro Blue back in the day. Mid-launch, mid-low spin, and it kind of had the interesting thing, CK stood for carbon Kevlar, and the big thing is in the handle, in that stiffer handle section, it had a carbon Kevlar weave. So they went to DuPont, got some of that Kevlar material to stiffen up and stabilize that handle section, and then down in the tip, it actually used boron to help stabilize the tip and help kind of work with compression, because as the shaft flexes, one side stretches, one side compresses, and boron's very good at compression. So used to stabilize the handle section was kind of boron, really thin threads up in the tip section, which was pretty interesting. It came in at 77 grams and 3.2 degrees of torque. We move on to the next club, and it is a 3-wood, and for him, it is a Callaway AI Smoke triple diamond prototype. It's a 3HL or 16.5 degree, and the reason I call it a prototype is because at retail, we never got that. We got a 3-wood, a 5-wood, a 7-wood. That was it. His is a 3HL, which is a high launch 3-wood, 16.5 degrees, and it has a bonded hosel. So no interchangeable hosel like the 3-wood did at retail for us. This one is glued straight in. There's no adjustments, anything. Now with that, typically a bonded hosel is lighter than an adjustable hosel, so they can take some of that weight, move it down low, move it back, move it wherever they needed to in order to make this club perform a different way. So if they wanted to launch a little higher or spin less or whatever, they're able to take the weight they could have saved from that adjustable hosel, moved it elsewhere, and made it. But we never got a 3HL in the triple diamond. So 16.5 degrees, and it is shafted up with a Mitsubishi Tensei 1K Pro Blue 80TX. So yes, he's playing the brand new blue model in the Tensei line in the 3-wood. And this is a mid-launch, mid-spin shaft. Kind of spins a little bit more than the CK for most players, but still is a really smooth feel, kind of stiffer handle, stiffer tip section, and comes in at 84 grams and 2.9 degrees of torque in an 80TX. He's probably playing this thing at 43 inches. I'm saying that because his previous exact same 3-wood that he had a different shaft in last year, he played it at 43 inches, so we're going to assume he's probably going with something very, very similar. The next club in the bag is going to be a hybrid for him, and it's an older Callaway Epic Flash 2 hybrid. So playing something that's a few generations old, it's kind of beat up a little bit. It's got some wear on it, but hey, that's great. It's a tool for him. It's an 18-degree head, and it's playing at 18.2 degrees. It's in the draw/standard hosel setting, so the S stands for loft, which is stated loft, and this is an 18-degree head, so it's stated loft, 18 degrees, and the D portion is draw, which makes it a little bit more upright. So a little bit there, and then it is shafted up with a Mitsubishi Tensei CK Pro White hybrid shaft in the 100 TX shaft. So this one, again, is a little bit older, the CK model, again, standing for carbon Kevlar in the handle. This one here has got an overall stiffer profile, low launch, low spin. I couldn't actually find any specs on the 100TX. I read a few things that actually said it was tour issue. I don't necessarily remember. I know they made a 100X that some of the OEMs used in their hybrids, like Titleist and maybe Callaway or something like that back in the day. That was kind of a stock option. But the 100TX, I don't remember seeing anywhere. So no specs for it there, but it's in that 100-gram range, very low launch, very low spin, playing at 40 and 1/4 inches long and a D3 swing weight. So we move into his irons, and his irons are a little bit unique as well. He's playing a blended set in a sense, but the first club is his 4-iron, and his 4-iron is a Callaway Apex Pro 4-iron. Now, this is the 2019 model. It's raw, and it is a tour issue, what they call a double dot head. So if you look on the hosel, there's a 1/9, and there's 2 little dots on there. And there was also a single dot version, a double dot version. They made a few different versions of these. These typically also had a little thicker cavity in it. So it kind of had this triangular cavity, and it was a little thicker than some of the retail models. But this one here, the double dots, the big thing was the grooves. It had more grooves on it for added spin. It was a higher spinning head. It also didn't have that cup face like at retail. So in that 19 set, I think it was like the 4, 5, 6, maybe even 7-iron, had kind of a cup face for a little bit of added speed. They did not have these on these tour issue only heads. So raw finish, it rusts, no chrome plating. This is a tour issue a head only. And yeah, those are the big differences between the retail ones and there. So 2019 Apex Pro, it's got a Project X 6.5 shaft in it, which again, we talked about a little bit last week, I believe. So kind of an initial high launch, really flat apex, low spin shaft. He's playing this at a 1/2 inch long, and it's 22 degrees. So the rest of his irons are going to be the Callaway Apex MBs. It's 5-through pitching wedge. Now he's playing the 2018 model Callaway Apex 8 MB that has kind of the smoother muscle to it. The new one's kind of edgy and got a unique kind of look to it. This one here is a little more blended, a little more traditional looking blade. Now these ones last year he was playing what they were called the JV model, which I believe is like Japan version, but they've got a little bit more squared off toe. When you look at them from a dress, they're not as kind of rounded as the retail models were. He's got these shafted up with Project X 6.5 shafts as well. So 125 grams, low spin, stout feeling, very stable, very good shafts for kind of higher swing, higher spin players. And he's playing these at a 1/2 inch long. The 7-iron comes in at 32.5 degrees for the 7-iron and 45 degrees for the pitching wedge in terms of loft on those. So pretty, I would say, slightly stronger lofts for an MB, but they get the job done. And basically for players like that, they're just trying to get their carry number to be exactly what it is. We move into wedges, and his wedges, he's playing the Callaway Opus. So the Callaway Opus, the first one he's playing is the gap wedge, which is a 50.10 S grind. So 50 degrees of loft, 10 degrees of bounce. S grind is, as usual, we talk about it a lot, is kind of really built for full shots, reduced digging, kind of a full wider sole, a little bit of trailing edge relief, so it kind of releases from the turf pretty quickly. It might be 49 degrees. I know with his set last year when he was playing Jaws Raw, they were set to 49 degrees. This one isn't marked, so I don't know that it is different, so we're going to just call it 50, but it could be a degree strong. And then for his sand wedge, he's playing a 54-12 S grind. Same thing with this one. He could have it 53 degrees. I know last year his set was bent 1 degree strong, but 54-12 S, so 12 degrees of bounce, good amount of bounce for a sand wedge. Again, S grind, full sole, good for full shots or shots that you're using the club that's just square to the target. You're not opening the face as much. I mean, a player like Thomas can open it up and probably hit whatever shot, but that sole grind for most people is great for square shots or full shots. Now this one, both those are shafted up with True Temper Dynamic Gold Tour Issue S400 shafts. Again, we talk about these every week. And the S400, 132 grams, kind of lower launching, lower spinning, a little softer feeling compared to X100. And then for his lob wedge, he's actually playing a Callaway Opus Platinum, 58.08 C grind. Now the Platinum and the Standard, the biggest difference, the Platinum has a kind of chunk of tungsten up near the top of the head that is kind of epoxied in or attached there. And it basically is used to raise the center of gravity, produce a flatter ball flight while still carrying a lot of spin, and that way adding some control to players who like to kind of flight shots up and down and hit different shots. But a big chunk of tungsten moved upwards. So an Opus Platinum for the lob wedge, and that is also shafted up with a True Temper Dynamic Gold S400 shaft. For the putter, he is using an older Odyssey O-Work 7. So this is the kind of all-black head. Had the red, two red movable weights on the bottom. It has the double bend shaft in it, so it should be face balanced. It's got the micro hinge insert, which is extremely soft. Has kind of a rubber backing with little metal tabs that kind of fold over the rubber sections. Offers actually better forward roll, but it's a really soft insert, offering kind of a little more muted, softer feel to it. This one here has a black double bend shaft, and it is and the grip is a SuperStroke Zenergy Tour 2.0 shaft. He's playing the swing at 35 inches long with 2.5 degrees of loft and a 71-degree lie angle. Now for ball, he's using the Callaway Chrome Tour X. So this is a 4-piece ball from Callaway in their Tour line. It's a little bit firmer feel and a little bit higher spinning than the standard Chrome Tour. But it is a really fantastic ball. I played it a decent amount last year. Really good feel, great performance, extremely consistent, very long. So that is Thomas Detry's bag from the 2025 WM Phoenix Open. I always want to say Waste Management. It's the WM. But that is his bag from that. So congratulations to him on the big win. That is awesome. And yeah, check back next week when we go through the next winner's What's in the Bag.